Well, it's a common saying that car racing is akin to solving a Rubik's Cube while cruising at 90 miles per hour. What an imagery, isn't it? You have to consider the complexities inherent in both tasks. Just imagine holding a Rubik's Cube in your hands, twisting and turning the colorful squares, trying to align all the colors on each side. It's nothing short of a mental gymnastics, a game where quick thinking and sharp instincts both play pivotal roles. Now, picture yourself in a race car, speeding down the track at breakneck speed. The roaring engine, the wind whipping past, the adrenaline pumping through your veins. Same quick thinking, same sharp instincts, but magnified many times over. The stakes are higher, the risks greater. And yet, there's a stark difference. In the Rubik's Cube world, the sight of red might mean you're one step closer to solving the puzzle. But in car racing, no one's ever happy to see the color red. It's a world where red rarely signifies anything good. It's a symbol of danger, a signal to stop, a reminder of the thin line between thrill and catastrophe. Now, let's dive into the world of car racing. You might have heard about the racing driver who bought a bakery. People were confused, asking, why a bakery of all things? Well, he wanted to make some dough, of course. But you know what? He found out that kneading dough is much harder than steering a racing car. He ended up breading his car more often than baking bread. Guess he bit off more than he could chew, or should we say knead. And then there's the tale of the race car driver who was also an avid bird watcher. Strange combination, right? Well, one day during a race, he spotted a rare bird flying overhead, and what does he do? He hits the brakes to get a better look. The other drivers whizzed past him, but he was grinning ear to ear. He didn't win the race, but he did spot a yellow-bellied sapsucker. Now that's what you call tweet victory. But the funniest of all must be the story of a racer with a fear of speed. Imagine that, a racer who's afraid of going too fast, like a fish being afraid of water. He'd start off each race at a snail's pace, and his pit crew would be yelling into the radio, "Speed up, speed up." But he'd calmly reply, "Nope, safety first, guys, safety first." He never won a race, but he did have the cleanest driving record in the history of the sport. Oh, and we can't forget about the driver who was convinced his car was haunted. He'd hear strange noises during the race and was sure it was a ghost. One day, he finally decided to have an exorcist come in. The exorcist listened carefully, then laughed and said, "That's not a ghost, that's your engine knocking. You need a mechanic, not an exorcist." So, whether it's chasing birds instead of the finish line, kneading dough instead of speeding, racing at a glacial pace, or mistaking engine knocks for paranormal activity, the world of car racing is far from dull. It's a place where speed meets humor, and the finish line might just be the punchline. Remember, in car racing, it's not always about how fast you drive, but how hard you can make people laugh along the way. After all, life is too short to stay in the slow lane. So gear up, rev those engines, and let's add some giggles to the gas.